I cannot wait till May 1st, 2026. I kind of wish that would pop up and just snap his fingers and there's a blip and we jump over 2025 and go into 2026. Every time I hear a story about Avengers Doomsday, I get excited. The first bit of news was that the Russo Brothers were back into the Marvel fold. If you don't know the Russo Brothers, they did the last few Avengers films, Infinity War, Endgame. They did Captain America Winter Soldier, Captain America Civil Wars. They did The Gray Man with Chris Evans and Ryan Gosling. I love the Russo Brothers. They did Chadwick Boseman's the film that he did after Black Panther, the cop film that he did after that cop drama. Oh my God. Oh my God. I love the Russo Brothers. So they come back. Then they say Robert Downey Jr. is going to be Dr. Doom. And people say, well, how's that going to happen? I'm telling you, if you saw him at Oppenheimer, if he takes that twisted, evil character he took in Oppenheimer and bring that into Dr. Doom, he'll be totally fine. In Oppenheimer, there's no sense of Tony Stark. There's no sense of the snappy Robert Downey Jr. that we know. He was a totally different dude. He was totally restrained, but crooked. So if he brings that character into Doom, he's totally fine. And then we hear that Chris Evans will be back as Captain America. And then today, I learned that Hayley Atwell is coming back as Agent Peggy Carter in Avengers Doomsday. I love Hayley Atwell. First of all, she's beautiful. Second of all, I love that accent. I love her English accent. And third, she was excellent as Peggy Carter. Now, I didn't see her first in the first Captain America. I came backwards. I think I saw Hayley in something before. But I knew that when the show debuted, when Agent Carter was on ABC, I knew she was part of the whole Marvel thing. So I started watching that show first. And then years later, I actually went back to watching the first Captain America. It's so weird because I jumped in watching Captain America after the first Avengers, but then I got into Winter Soldier. Winter Soldier, to me, is like my second or third favorite comic movie of all time. So that's how I got into Cap, because I was anti Chris Evans. Chris Evans, okay, so Chris Evans was the Human Torch in the Fantastic Four films. And then after those stopped working, he became Captain America. And I was like, well, how come he could be the Human Torch and Captain America? So I boycotted Captain America. I said, that's not fair. And then years later, I was like, oh man, this actually was a decent film. Not as good as Winter Soldier and Civil Wars. No, it's not as good as those. But the first Cap was good. But Agent Carter, if you never saw Agent Carter, it was only on for 2 years on ABC. The first season was excellent. The second season was okay. They tweaked it a little bit, and I didn't like the tweaks too much. It didn't hurt the show, but it wasn't as great as the first season. But Hayley Atwell as Peggy Carter was fantastic. And when they canceled it, I was like, oh, that sucks. Because at that time, they had Agent Carter and they had Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And they stuck with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And if you're a fan of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or just watch it all the way through, you know from where they first started, which is almost like an an X-Files type of show. It was almost like the Monster of the Week. And so it was that type of show at first with Coulson. But then they morphed into a different type of show after a while. And then by the end, it was crazy, but it was interesting. So they stuck with Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but they canceled Peggy Carter. And I was hoping that it would come back someplace else. But I knew it wouldn't fit on Netflix. Because at first I was like, man, maybe it should go on Netflix. Because they had the Defenders. They had Luke Cage, Daredevil, Jessica Jones, and Iron Fist. And I was hoping that maybe Marvel would take Peggy Carter over to Netflix. But that whole Hell's Kitchen Defenders genre over there, she just didn't fit over there because her show's set in the 1940s. So she didn't fit over there at Netflix. And this is before they had Disney Plus. So Peggy Carter just went adrift, which I say, man, that sucks. Now, if Disney Plus was back around 2017, 2018, I think Peggy Carter still be on. I think ABC would have just took Peggy Carter and put it over there. And I think Peggy Carter would have been fine because she still would have been tied into the whole Marvel universe in some form. And the crazy thing with Disney Plus will put on 20 million Star Wars series that we don't want to see. They got a new one with Jude Law, and I'm a Jude Law fan, but I do not want to watch the Star Wars series. The only Star Wars series I actually cared about was The Mandalorian, the first 2 seasons. But Yeah, but they do this thing where they constantly give me all these Star Wars shows that people keep on telling you, we don't want these shows. When you have a show like Peggy Carter sitting there, Agent Carter was sitting there for them to reboot for Disney Plus, and they won't do it. They'll just keep on shoving all that money into Star Wars that people do not want to see. Well, we got the lovely Hayley Atwell playing Peggy Carter. So maybe after Doomsday, maybe we'll get another Peggy Carter series. I think they should. Because it was a different take of the whole Marvel universe. It was the very beginning. Like they said, Captain America was the first Avenger. So it would have been very interesting seeing what type of villains they would fight in the 1940s, maybe going to the 1950s as Marvel characters. That would have been so interesting, right? So we'll see what happens. So what do you guys think? Are you excited that Peggy Carter, aka Hayley Atwell, aka Agent Carter, is back in the Marvel universe for Avengers Doomsday? How do you feel about Robert Downey Jr. playing Dr. Doom? How do you feel about Captain America? Chris Evans coming back once again playing Cap. How do you feel about the Russo brothers? And do you think Thanos should come back and snap his fingers and jump us from 2024 to May 1st, 2026? Let's do it, man. Let's do it, Thanos. Shout out to Josh Brolin.